What's up, guys? Welcome to the Dynasty Dudes podcast. My name's Bryce. That's Rob. We're going to get started and just talk a little bit about, we're recording this. It's right between divisional and championship week. So we're just going to give our little bit of our reactions to kind of what we're seeing from a Dynasty perspective on how the playoffs have gone so far and kind of what we're kind of looking forward to going forward. So, Rob, how about you? Any reactions from the divisional round or the wild card round?
Yeah, I think that Joe Burrow and the Bengals were a big standout.
Right.
I think that Burrow played some pretty hot football. I think he threw for 250 yards or so against the Bills defense, which has been pretty shut down. And I just wonder what the implications of that are as far as his standings and kind of dynasty assets, right? Like, you've got your big names in the QB run, and is Burrow making a fight for relevance there?
Yeah, I think one thing I'm curious, where kind of are you standing on where your top five kind of dynasty quarterbacks are at this point now that we see? Is Joe Burrow kind of entering that realm of the Mahomes-Allen tier, or what do you think?
I think so. I think Mahomes and Allen are in a league of their own, right? Like, if you got the ones and the twos, they're in the S. They're up here.
Right.
They're separate. But I think that Burrow is proving that his football production isn't just a byproduct of being on a hot offense. I think that he's making some big plays on his own.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the one thing that you're running into with Joe Burrow, and this is going to be a question with a lot of rookie quarterbacks, or a lot of quarterbacks on their rookie contract, is how much of it is that cheap or the fact that they're on a cheap contract and their team around them is full of studs, right? So you got T. Higgins and Jamar Chase as these weapons, and how long is that going to last? And that's not to say T. Higgins and Jamar Chase are going to making Joe Burrow great, but it's important to keep in mind is they're going to have to pay him.
Yeah, it will be interesting. Where are they going to make cap space for him?
Right.
There's the argument of playoff window with a QB on his rookie contract, because you can't afford to pay guys like T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
No,
but
probably not both for sure.
No, I don't think both. But
right.
I do think there's an argument to be said for, Joe Burrow put it best himself, right? Like, when is the Bengals playoff window? As long as he plays.
His whole career.
Yeah, his whole career. And I think as far as top five dynasty assets go, that might cover that as well, like his whole career.
Yeah, no, I sort of potentially agree. I was a big Burrow guy coming out of LSU, and I think he may fall into that category. I still think probably Allen, Mahomes are just a tad above Allen. He's just the dynamic playmaking ability. And he's a guy who's already on his second contract, so it's kind of a thing that we've seen some sustained success. And then Mahomes is just Patrick Mahomes. He's just unbelievable. Multiple. He's going to win the MVP this year, probably.
You think he takes MVP?
I think he has to. Unfortunately, I know you can give your 2 cents on who you think should be MVP.
I just don't see how it's not Hurts. His team didn't win games without him. With him, they were 15-1 or 14-1.
No,
that's incredible.
By the way, I'd like to full disclosure for our viewers, if there are any. We are both products of Washington State University, and because of that, we are big Gardner Minshew fans. So I don't accept any
heavily invested.
Yeah, I don't accept any Gardner Minshew slander on this.
So you're saying the Eagles lose that game with Hurts, just like with Minshew?
Well, there were 2 games, and this is a lot of people
games.
get caught up on it. They should have won the Dallas game. Miles Sanders fumbled. They were in a shootout, and Miles Sanders cost them that game. Everyone, of course, remembers the Saints game. Does Hurts win that game? Yeah, probably. The other thing that people were kind of talking about is the Saints had played Minshew back in Jacksonville and kind of knew how to play him, and so they had a really good game plan. But none of that gets talked about because if they would have beat Dallas like they should have, that game would have just been irrelevant. Who cared?
I think easy transition there. Burrow into Hurts. Where do you see him in his climb this season as far as QB Dynasty rankings?
Jalen Hurts has a similar problem. It's just something you have to consider. Hurts he has one of the better offensive lines right now that maybe we've ever seen.
Yeah, maybe best in the league.
Yeah, it's definitely best in the league. It's elite. Now, I think we kind of saw this with Dak Prescott a number of years ago, where Dak Prescott came into the league and he had just an incredible offensive line, and he's able to thrive in that situation. Now, Dak Prescott is still an extremely good quarterback, and he's going to be the Dallas quarterback for many years to come. But we have seen some regression from him when he's not behind an absolute brick wall. And so it'll be interesting to see with Jalen Hurts of what he's going to be able to do, because I think he's going to be the Eagles quarterback for a long time. But is he going to be that elite stud forever? I think there are some cautionary tales.
So then, Jalen Hurts or Joe Burrow, which would you rather own in a dynasty context?
Dude, if my team was more of a win now, probably Hurts. I don't think either are bad answers.
No.
I think it's so tough. The other thing with Hurts that you can also say about Josh Allen, dude, running quarterbacks, man. Quarterbacks that take hits, they get hurt.
Look at Lamar Jackson. I mean, he missed potentially a Super Bowl run on a knee injury or a contract issue. It's up for dispute, but
yeah, it could definitely a little bit of both for sure.
Yeah,
that's it. It's a really difficult conversation. Again, full disclosure, neither of us, I believe. Do you have any Burrow?
No.
Stock? Yeah, so neither of us have any Burrow stock, but you are a Hurts guy.
I'm not in a dynasty league where I don't own Jalen Hurts. Yes, that is accurate.
Do you have any thoughts on kind of maybe my criticisms of Jalen Hurts, or at least my caution?
I don't disagree. I think the running aspect, there's some scariness there, right? Like, you've got the rushing touchdown upside and the yards, but also look at Trey Lance. He made it 2 games and did not finish the second one.
Well, now that you mentioned Trey Lance, do we want to talk about the old San Francisco 49ers and what they're going to do and kind of what this weekend might mean? So I'll ask you this question, Rob. If the 49ers lose on Sunday to the Philadelphia Eagles, which I think they do, by the way, is it Brock Purdy's season next year in 2023?
When the 49ers lose, I don't see why they don't pick up both QBs. I mean, they're both on rookie contracts. Pretty sure that the janitor makes more than Brock Purdy. Like, last pick in the draft, he's got to be on like $900,000 a year.
Yeah, something like that.
Something super low. Trey Lance,
like essentially zero.
Yeah, 0. Trey Lance, he was a first-round pick. He's a little more expensive, but why ship him? You can keep both, run them both through camp, see which one looks better. I do think that the emergence of Brock Purdy could be detrimental to Trey Lance's career in San Francisco, but we'll see. I mean, they weren't going to sign Jimmy till, the end of the season. Maybe Lance earns it. But I do think that Brock Purdy is complicating the San Francisco back room, or quarterback room.
Yeah. No, I think, it's because San Francisco had this problem a little bit last year, right? They had Jimmy G under contract. They couldn't find a trade partner for him, so they ended up going. They essentially had him practicing on the backfield, like it was a
By himself.
Yeah, it was a kind of a bizarre situation. I think San Francisco has, and again, I don't know what they're going to do. I think they have to have some sort of stability in the quarterback room going into 2023, especially if they think their Super Bowl window is open but closing. They have that defense is ridiculous. That they've got all the weapons in the world. At what point you have to? I think you have to do something, and I personally don't think that Trey Lance and Brock Purdy can coexist.
You don't see it? You don't picture both in there?
I don't. I think what I would do if I think it doesn't now, and this is for the Trey Lance owners in the audience, and that would include you, Rob, for those who buy in, talking to the people. I think the best thing for Trey Lance is get the heck out of San Francisco, and I think there'll be plenty of people interested. And I think if anything, they could bring, like San Francisco could bring in some sort of veteran. Like again, there's so many on the market now, but either roll with Brock Purdy, sign someone, go trade for Aaron Rodgers, sign Tom Brady, or you roll with Brock Purdy and tell Lance to take a hike.
I picture Brock Purdy over a veteran. I just feel like Kyle Shanahan, to run his offense, he wants a QB that's malleable and will do what he says. He doesn't want Tom Brady to come in with his own play style and history. He wants somebody who will run the Shanahan offense, not the Brady offense. That's perfectly fair for sure. That's a perfectly fair point. So to counter with young quarterbacks that we both love, Trevor Lawrence. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that game.
Dude's a stud. I don't know how you could argue that. I think he's still. I think keep trade cut right now. By the way, keep trade cut for those who don't know. It's kind of a crowdsourced ranking service. Really well done. Go check it out. But their rankings, because it's crowdsourced, is they're not always accurate, or they're somewhat delayed oftentimes. I tell you what, Keep Trade Cut has him as the QB6, a couple of tiers down. I think you have to put Trevor Lawrence is right up at the top, and they're just going to keep getting better. Like that offense around him, they went and just massively overpaid for Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk's a nice player. I like Christian Kirk. He finishes like he played in every game and finishes like the wide receiver 14 or something like that, depending on who you ask. He's a nice slot guy. Zay Jones is fine. His best weapon was probably like his best legitimate weapon, other than Travis Etienne, was probably his tight end Evan Ingram. But his receiving core was mediocre at best, and they broke out in such a big way. If you want to put it conceptually, just to kind of see where I put him, I have Mahomes and Allen as 1A, and then in that 1B category, I would have Burrow, Lawrence, Hurts, and Herbert.
I can hear the stutter. You were not sure you wanted to put Hurts in that category with Trevor Lawrence, did you?
No, I think you have to. I think you have to put Hurts in that category for sure, especially going, just even based on what's going to happen next year. The offensive line's not going to get worse, barring any injuries. I think you have 2 years left of really elite weapons around Hurts. I'm more talking with Hurts. It's what happens in 3 years. You know, what's going to happen there? Is it the way of Dak Prescott, where it's like a real noticeable kind of decrease? But at this point, there's too much to like to not put him in that category.
I agree.
And so that's where I put it. Again, most people have Lawrence a little bit below that or kind of somewhere else, but I think come tide next year, there's a lot of special quarterbacks in the AFC right now, but I think it's pretty clear that Trevor Lawrence is one of them.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think you're right. Jacksonville needs to boost that wide receiver room. They need to pick up a rookie or trade for one of the non-existent free agents this year.
Yeah,
but they need some help.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of non-existent free agents, one of them is playing next week, and again, the theme of some of our investments. Let's talk about Juju Smith-Schuster. Didn't have
no
the best.
Idea.
He didn't. Let's just talk about this last weekend. He didn't have the best game. Basically, wasn't targeted. I think he had 2 catches or something like that. Obviously, that Kansas City offense is it's Travis Kelce and everybody else, right?
Yeah.
Juju was the second leading receiver on that team this last year, and did he break 1,000 yards? I think he did.
I think so. I can look.
Yeah, if he did, it was by a smidge.
No, 933 yards.
Okay, so he also missed some games, so he would have, on a 17-game average, he definitely would have broken it. I'll ask you this then: as a Juju owner, do you want him to stay in KC?
No, I
Okay.
want him to go somewhere where the wide receiver room's a little more depleted. The Giants stick out in particular, where he can go and be a star. He can be the guy. I think he has the ability to pull in his, 8 to 14 targets a game, and I don't know. I want him on an island. It doesn't have to be a winning offense, just a passing offense.
Yeah, I probably would agree with you. One, I agree. Just based, if you guys go and just Google what the free agent wide receiver class is looking like this year, it's pretty brutal. It's horrible. Like Juju's probably the best one. You got guys like Alan Lazard and Jacoby Myers are like the next 2. That's it. There's really nobody, and I think Juju sees a little bit of that Christian Kirk treatment, where a team is just going to go overpay for someone who, give wide receiver 1 money to a guy who hasn't necessarily proved he's a wide receiver 1. Now it looks like, and Mazel Tov to Jacksonville. It looks like it mostly worked out. We talked to Kirk, so I hope it works out for Juju. But the problem, I think you admit, is that there is a chance that they end up, or that Juju ends up in a bad situation.
Well, I mean, if he stays in KC, the best he'll be until Kelce retires is the wide receiver 2. With Kadarius Toney there's a reality that they both might end up splitting so much work that they're tied for the wide receiver 3 in Kansas City, right? Mm-hmm. I just think that it limits the ceiling.
Yeah, but I also think, again, we talked about the Devontae Parker, Juju Smith-Schuster. They look similar.
Yeah.
You could see the Patriots overpaying for a guy like Schuster because they just need a guy. People like these teams just need guys. That's
they need a workhorse.
Yeah.
And I think Juju fits that profile. I'm pretty sure he's what, 6'1", 210. Is that
big
right?
Guy. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
Big
he
receiver.
can take some hits. He can catch the ball in traffic. The question is, where does he get that opportunity?
Yeah. I'm a big Juju fan, and I'll be rooting for him. Frankly, he needs to get his bag on a personal level. He'll probably haul in 4 years, $60 million. So yeah, that seems about right for, especially with this depleted wide receiver market. Someone's going to give him that 4th year, and that's really where it should be for Juju. So we'll kind of, it's definitely something we're going to have to monitor during the offseason. Again, I don't think Kansas City with that Patrick Mahomes money is starting to have to really screw with their cap situation. And so I don't think they're going to be able to pay for multiple luxuries in that wide receiving core. And when I say multiple luxuries, Travis Kelce is that first luxury, and that he'll be around until his legs don't work anymore. And then after that, it's kind of makeshift. So I see them rolling with Tony. MVS will still be under contract. Mecole Hardman's going to be bye-bye. And I think they probably try to find something in the draft. But I definitely I don't envision them cashing or giving out a lot of money to a wide receiver. So let's talk a little bit about our guy, Kadarius Toney. And when we say our guy, I mean my guy.
Your guy.
My guy, Kadarius Toney. Rob, what do you think of the Kadarius Toney experience year 2?
I don't know. I mean, can he stay healthy? Can he play a whole season without his hamstrings flaring up? I'm just pulling up his player profile right now.
Sure.
I think that I just don't know. So Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce survived in the same offense. They were both productive. They were both finishing at the top of their position. Do you think that Toney fits the profile to do that?
Yeah, I think that Toney, it was an easy comp to say that, Kadarius Toney and Tyreek Hill are the same guy.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm
no, for sure. No. I know. I'm just kind of talking generally. They're not the same guy. Like Kadarius Toney's this kind of, he's really twitchy and frankly he more operates in space. And I guess, in a sense Tyreek did the same thing, but Tyreek really he was this just massive field stretching guy because his speed was just so elite, where where Toney seems to be more of a kind of guy who thrives in the open field, but so is Kelce a little bit. I think the answer to the question is yes. I think there's definitely room for multiple very good to elite players in this offense. We just haven't seen it from Kadarius Toney. It's always weird in the NFL. As a baseball fan, I'm always pretty in tune to the trade deadline. And in baseball, people just plug right in. You traded for a shortstop, you're going to go play shortstop and you're hitting for us. That's the deal. And that's not the case in the NFL. The NFL, they run offenses that are complex, and you can't just oh, hey, hi, Kadarius, would you like to go, line up in the slot? So I don't think it's necessarily fair to put a lot of judgment on what happened after a trade in the NFL, especially in an offense the offense didn't really need Kadarius Toney. It was they've been using him kind of as a nice little luxury when they want him. It's like, oh, we have this really kind of athletically gifted wide receiver. Let's just get him the ball when we can, when we think it makes sense. But does he turn into an actual every down wide receiver?
And he passes the eye test there for me.
Right.
I mean, in KC, if you put the ball in his hands, he looks good. He looks fast. Right. Like you said, that twitchy, just lateral movement of his, it shines. He can create space where there isn't space. But again, can he stay healthy? Can he keep those hamstrings chugging enough to be what KC needs him to be? And does KC need him? Would they rather have him or 3 no-name mediocre wide receivers that they just cycle through.
Yeah, the Justin Watsons. Just that's a Bill Belichick wide receiver you've ever seen one. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think, the need question, the good news is he's under contract. He's a first round pick, so he has a 5th-year option that they can pick up after next year. So this is they've got him at least for another 2 years for cheap, and they can again pick up the 5th-year option if they want. So it'll be interesting to watch with Tony. One thing I want to say about Kadarius Toney too, dude's a hitter. The dude just pounds into contact. I was not expecting that.
He does not shy away. No.
Yeah, very impressive. Is there any other team that maybe we haven't talked about?
While we're on the Chiefs, I would love to hear your thoughts on the Mahomes ankle situation. Right, he's got a high ankle sprain going into the championship round of the playoffs. I mean, maybe not long-term dynasty implications, but what are your thoughts there? What do you think that has impact on?
Yeah, I mean, again, in terms of fortunately, I think it has relatively low dynasty implications, which is good for, and for the sport. You don't want Patrick Mahomes to have his career derailed by some stupid injury. Yeah, I mean, ankle sprains are ankle sprains. He's going to have to probably recover for the next 3 months after whatever his last game ends up being. I think he plays. I think we agree on that. Whether he'll be full-blown Mahomes or not, that we'll see. But I will say that, to bring it back to a little bit more dynasty talk, is that one thing that's so special about Patrick Mahomes is he is so good in the pocket, as well as, being that mobile guy, because he's just not the fastest guy on the field, but he makes a lot of stuff happen with his legs. But dude, the dude can sit in the pocket, he's going to be really effective, and that's massive. Excuse me. From a dynasty perspective, that you don't need this. He's not going to have a Lamar Jackson like crash. And by the way, I'm not saying Lamar's done. I think he'll be fine, but he's not a one-trick pony.
No, I don't disagree. I couldn't find the stat. I was looking for it. Someone quoted to me, and I'll see if I can find it again later, that Mahomes actually had a better passer rating after the injury than he did before. That he was able to pick it back up, go out on the field, and do what he does, which is hard to believe because that first Chiefs drive was just so incredible. But I can believe that Mahomes has got that dog in him that, you bang him up a little bit, whatever, he takes a tumble, he's still able to sling the rock. I mean, he is kind of one of a kind right now.
Yeah, definitely is. One more little small topic before we get out of here, but did you happen to catch Mr. Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show yesterday?
No, I did not. I missed yesterday. I got last week. Gotcha.
Well, a little bit more of the same, but I did catch the whole thing, and this will be something we monitor really closely here at the Dynasty Dudes podcast for a variety of reasons. Again, we try to give our full disclosures on where our biases are. Big Jordan Love investor. Big Jordan Love investor. And I think for good reason, by the way. But let's not talk about Jordan Love because his fate really depends on where Aaron Rodgers is. Aaron Rodgers is hanging out with me down here in Malibu. We're big homies. Me and Aaron, we hang out. No, but it really sounded to me, Rob, like Aaron Rodgers is very open to a trade.
Yeah, I think I saw a quote. He doesn't want to be traded to a rival NFC team or whatever, AFC.
And he's not going to. And the Packers wouldn't do it anyway, so it doesn't matter.
No, but it is interesting. I do want to know where he goes. He said 2 weeks ago on the McAfee show that if he's going to come back, he wants it to be for everything. He wants to be playing for a Super Bowl. He wants to be on a win-now team. And I'm just not super sure what teams are going to be willing to pay that.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a team that really is a quarterback away, and is kind of in their win now window. And you look, one of the main teams that comes to people's mind is the Jets, who really seem to be, you got a stud running back in Breece Hall, up and coming receiver in Garrett Wilson, a variety of other kind of assets around that team, and a studly defense. Defense is ridiculous. And so you look at that, and that sort of fits the bill of a team. The other one, obviously, Tennessee with that 1960s style offense.
Just run the ball. They do pound the rock.
Dude, it's so
boring.
It's so boring. But maybe, they got Vrabel. Maybe he changes the offense a little bit with if they get a guy like Eric. You have to, right? You can't be running.
Well, and Derrick Henry retires someday, right? I mean, he is so old. I think he's 30.
Yeah, he'll be 30. I think. Yeah, I think he's going into age 30 season.
Talking Derrick Henry real quick. His dynasty value. You have him on your roster. What's your sell now line? He's old. I send you a trade offer. What does that offer have to be for you to sell him?
Oh, well, I think it comes more down to, am I a win now roster or not? If I'm a win now roster that needs running back help, dude, that's so tough. Dude, if a win now roster, if I had Derrick Henry and I wasn't on a win now roster, if I was in a rebuild, dude, I personally would probably be trying to hold out for a late first.
A late first.
And I think that's at least a late first. I think that's fair, because the deal is Derrick Henry is a league-winning player when he was great again. He was great again.
Yeah, he did his thing. Once again, what did he finish? Like 6?
I think he missed a couple games, and so that may have happened.
All running backs do, though.
Yeah, exactly. You expect every running back to miss, 2 or 3 games at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, Derrick Henry. But yeah, back to Rodgers. I really, based on what I heard, the Pat McAfee show last week, I think it just makes too much sense for the Packers to trade him. Unfortunately, they need a little bit of a reload or a retool. They have, their wide receivers are young. I'm a big Christian Watson guy, also an investor in him, but that's kind of it. Lazard's gone, and so they probably need more. They've got a really good offensive line. That's awesome. I believe one of the two, Jones or Dillon, is a free agent, I think.
Dillon might be a free agent. I think Jones has 1 year left on his contract.
It's probably true.
And I was just reading about this the other day. I think it's $10 million more than the next up running back.
Gotcha.
Which, at a position that's easily refilled, Jones is elite. He's a great runner.
Yeah,
he looks great on the field. He has great chemistry with Rodgers. He can run routes and catch the ball. I think Green Bay's got to sell him, right? They got to move on.
From Rodgers?
No, from Aaron
Jones?
Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they do. I think if they sell Aaron Rodgers, they just free up, or if they trade Aaron Rodgers, they just will be in a good spot with their cap that they don't really need to move on from Aaron Jones. Maybe they do. Yeah, I wasn't overly in love with what I saw from A.J. Dillon this year. But like I said, back to Aaron Rodgers, because that's really where the dynasty implications are. I think be on the lookout for these teams that might get him. And if I don't know kind of how if you're the Jordan Love owner right now, don't sell. I think the upside is too
Well, what are you
high.
going to get for him? A 4th?
For Jordan Love?
Yeah.
For Jordan Love, I'd be asking, like I said, I think his
I'm not
value,
saying what you'd ask as the owner. I'm saying if you're not the owner, what are you willing to ship for Jordan Love that you can't get in the draft?
I think, well, the thing about, here's the honest, so again, if we're going to get into a little bit of Jordan Love talk, if he is the quarterback for Green Bay this year, now again, that's not guaranteed because we don't know what's going on with Rodgers. If he's the quarterback for Green Bay next year and they trade Aaron Rodgers, I take Jordan Love over every single one of these rookie quarterbacks coming out. Just
really?
Yeah. Why? He's in the building. He's been under Aaron Rodgers for 3 years now. I mean, the trajectory is great. If they trade Aaron Rodgers, it's essentially an endorsement that says, "Hey, we believe in Jordan Love. He's our guy." Like that's what they're essentially saying. And if Green Bay is going to say that and move on from their Hall of Fame caliber, their MVP caliber quarterback, I think, I'm taking him over Bryce Young and Houston or CJ Stroud. An Ohio State quarterback, another one.
I don't know, man.
And then Will Levis, Will Levis, the Josh Allen comes of, oh yeah, he was terrible in college, but trust me, And no offense to Will Levis, he didn't have a single guy to throw to, but
I don't know. I think that's a hot take on Jordan Love. I think that Jordan Love will be a career backup.
Dude, I think he's a starter next year.
I would say put your money where your mouth is, but we already have a bet rolling on it. So. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah, I think that's. So again, I want to hear clarify where kind of we're at with this topic of conversation. If you say that Jordan Love, if I'm telling you right now that the Packers do trade Aaron Rodgers and are all in on Jordan Love, you don't see the argument to say, I'd rather have Jordan Love over C.J. Stroud.
No, I don't. Because if Green Bay believed in Jordan Love, then they would have tried to move Rodgers earlier. And they didn't
really. 2 MVP seasons. Can't move the MVP.
But why do you... I don't know. I don't see it with Jordan Love. I mean, it might be a whole repeat of the Rodgers. What's his name? The guy Rodgers replaced.
Favre, yeah.
Yeah, this might be Rodgers Favre all over again, but I just don't see it, man. How many times in a row can Green Bay draft a quarterback that's a stud, sit on him for a couple of years, and then trade away the old guy?
At least 3 times. Hey, so again, you heard it here, guys. This is what the non-Love owners are valuing him at. For all the Love truthers who own him out there, don't sell him. Again, if someone gives you a great offer, everyone's for sale, right? That's a thing. But you're talking about let him play some games.
And as a non-Love owner, if anyone offers you a third or better, sell. You're not going to get more value for him.
A third round pick. No, do not do it. That is
the best value you will ever get for
that him. Is absolutely devastating. That is absolutely devastating. Hey, sometime maybe in the next podcast we'll talk about a terrible trade you and I made that kind of is a little bit of a cautionary tale of why don't do stuff like that. Anyway, that'll do it for our show, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, peace.